It's that kind of shit. It's just such contrived shit.
Yeah, like
That should be the
unnecessary
title.
things.
Should be the title.
A song of contrived shit and lesbians. The ambience of the room right now is there's smoke from our cigars.
Smoke.
I've got a whiskey glass here.
That's lemonade.
Just soft jazz in the background. The crackle of the fireplace.
Just crack on my notes for you. So, we're here to review
What's the book name, Matt?
Of Fire and Stars.
Okay.
There is no ice.
There's no ice, and it's not called Of Ice and Lesbians, as you like to consider it to be.
We're here to do a very serious review of this
Very
book.
serious.
I think we should say before we get started, we are experts.
Oh.
We are...
Me, a 17, an absolute expert in reviewing books.
I think so.
Okay.
So let's get started with the actual review.
So, this book, right,
It's one you recommended I read.
yeah, I got it as a gift last Christmas.
Right.
And I was really, intrigued about it, because it's a lesbian book.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
the book itself is lesbian.
It takes form of a lesbian shape. I was interested because I like reading gay books as a gay, and I've heard good things about it.
So you yourself are a homosexual?
Well, not a homosexual.
Part-time homosexual?
I'm a part-time homosexual. I am attracted to men in theory, but it is my choice that I do not date them.
Wait, what?
The fact that I am attracted to men is not a choice. It is my choice if I date them.
So you're saying being gay is a choice?
No, I'm saying the fact that I'm straight is a choice. I heard a lot of good things from, the booktube community, so I really wanted to read it because it's a fantasy book as well, and yeah, it just sounded good.
And you watch a lot of booktube, right?
I am a booktube stan.
Unlike me, I have never watched a booktube video.
You have, though.
I watched... I can't remember her name, though.
Don't drop names.
One or two.
One or two, yeah.
I'm not really a connoisseur like you are.
Yeah, because I'm 17, I like reading young adult. Yeah, what are we on about? What are we here today?
We are introducing a book review.
A book review about Of Fire and Stars.
By Audrey Coulthurst. The book itself is a story of, I think, Denna, is what we're going to call her?
Yeah.
Denalia?
Denalia.
Spoiler, all the names in this book are fucking stupid.
Which we'll get into, because I've got a lot of notes on that.
So, the story of Denalia, who is, for the most of the book, she's 16.
Yeah.
And she goes to a foreign kingdom.
Minaria?
Something like that, yeah, Minaria. Because she is betrothed to...
Thandamillion.
Thandamillion. And basically she's not into Thandamillion, because she falls in love with Thandamillion's older sister.
Oh.
Yeah, it is actually mentioned briefly that Thandamillion is the younger brother.
Oh.
I think he's 17, he's like a year younger.
Oh, okay.
Denna is into Mare. What's her name? Amaranthine?
Amaranthine?
Sounds like a goddamn band name, doesn't it?
Amaranthine.
For some reason, she falls in love with this Mare. Mare is obviously like a play on words, because the author is obsessed with horses.
I think I read somewhere that she actually owns lots of horses.
Yeah, I also read that she has a master's degree in writing.
Oof.
We're not big fans of this book.
It's not that good. So when I first heard of it, I kind of just assumed that was the plot of the book, that she's engaged to this prince and she falls in love with the sister. That's kind of that, and the politics involved with that.
There is a bit of political intrigue, isn't there?
Yeah. But I thought that was going to be the meat of the book. But
the love story is the meat of the book, isn't it?
It's a very big part, which I think is where this book falters a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because I would prefer to read a book more about the magic and the political climate with the fight between the two groups.
There are the recusants and the fundamentalists.
Yeah, those. That was the bigger part of it, and the romance was kind of a side plot.
Something I remember you complained to me about was the magic system is not very explained at all.
Not really.
Should we start with the world and stuff, shall we?
Okay, so the world building. What I have in my very professional laid out notes is that we're basically just thrown into this world with no kind of introduction.
Yeah,
kind of just dropped in the middle. There's no setup.
There is a map in the first page.
but that's not going to tell us anything. That just tells us
True.
what the land looks like.
I've got some comments about the world as well, but where I disagree with you, I don't mind that the magic system, quote unquote, because there is no system, it's not really explained.
Yeah.
I don't really mind that, because as the reader, we are reading from Denna and Mare's perspective, so and they don't understand the system either, so I'm actually quite okay with it not explaining the magic system.
Yeah, I just feel like I'd have a better grip of the book if I like knew why this magic was so hate. Because no one ever explains why everyone hates magic in this kingdom. It's never really explained.
You're right. It's
just that this guy doesn't like magic. I mean,
the
like,
king thinks the heathens something.
Yeah, well, I did clock off like for the majority of the book.
Really?
No, like no, I read it in a day, in like a day and a half, and I read it in December, January. And I've like forgotten most of it. Okay. For me, it's just a very forgettable
I read it
book.
quite recently. I finished it 2 days ago. One of my biggest complaints with the world building. Okay, maybe a gripe, but what is a sun length?
I've got here as well. Like, what the actual fuck is a sun length?
So throughout the book, the author uses the term sun length for a period of time. She never explains what a sun length is. Is it the length of the sun across the day sky?
I would have assumed that would have meant like.
But several times they have several sun lengths within what is clearly a day.
Yeah. So an hour?
I think it's an hour. You know what I think she's done? I think Coulthurst wrote this entire book using the word hour, and then she thought, damn, this doesn't sound fantasy enough, and literally just Control F'd out the word hour and made it sun length instead.
But you think, isn't there also a part where she like uses the word minutes?
Yeah. Denna apologises to Thandy.
Oh, Thandy.
Thandy. You came and you went.
Without taking.
And I need you today, oh, Thandy. She apologises to Thandy and Mare for being a few minutes late.
So obviously they use the standard time.
How many minutes are in a song length? Just seems like a pointless fantasy word to me.
Yeah. If it was just half a day, like 12 hours, that would have made sense. But then again, with seasons changed, sun's around for less time, so it's like she wanted to just be more fantasy.
Something I noticed quite late into the book was that Denna and Mare speak the same language.
That's what I've got here as well, because I think I read it in your notes that you sent me. They're meant to be like, you see at the start of the book, there's a map.
Yeah. It really does not feel, despite these being different countries that Denna's gone to, there is no tangible difference between the two. Yeah. It's kind of briefly outlined that Mineria has a thing for horses. The royal family wear these like bracelets to show how many horses they've
had.
had.
I think that is. What? That's if you look at things like Game of Thrones, each like house has kind of like their sigil, I guess. Like for the north, it's the wolf. House Tully, it's fish. I think she wanted to get something like that, where like horses are kind of like a revered thing, like they breed horses over there. But it's just kind of like it's not really
tangible, is it? It doesn't feel like it's culturally different.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantasy land. Every place is gonna have like horses.
One of my biggest problems was, not really problems, but it was a missed opportunity that Denna and Mare speak the same language, because Denna could have maybe found Mare's speech patterns endearing, or her dialect.
That's just kind of like a little thing you like with like
yeah, I would have liked to see that between them.
Because you said to me you did really like the romance, didn't you?
I think the romance is nice.
It's okay.
But it's not particularly endearing at any point. I don't feel like I'm really attached to this romance.
I think the book's too short for it to be a...
That was one of my biggest problems as well, because this is not a long book.
I think the author wanted to set it up as like a slow build, enemies to friends to lovers kind of thing. But it's like, it's hard to fit that in just like, how many pages? 400 pages?
It's 400 pages with a big line spacing too.
Yeah.
So I think it's like much shorter than the average book.
I'm gonna Google how many words are in it.
You have some complaints about the plot. You want to outline this for me?
I just think, in general, it was predictable, slow, and just forgettable.
Ooh.
Genuinely.
Forgettable?
I mean, like I said, I read it in, like, January, December.
Right.
And I've forgotten most of the important plot points. Like, you'd come and say to me, like, oh, I've just got to this bit, and I was like, what happened then? It was just the way the characters were framed. Is her name Hildra?
Hildra? I read it as Hildara.
Oh, that lady.
The one that's like, I'm so angry at you. She's Umbridge, right?
Yeah. She
is Umbridge.
She's Umbridge. But the thing is, it was so obvious that she was the red herring to me.
Really? Okay.
Because what's his name? It begins with a Z. No. You know the one I mean,
Zebedee,
right?
yeah. Kranitz.
Zebedee.
Kranitz.
It's like, yeah.
Kranitz.
Oh, Kranitz. Where'd I get Z from?
It's got Z at the end.
Yeah, that guy.
He's the main bad guy.
He's the main bad guy. Like, I kind of figured that out. It was going to be him. Because like it was because it.
Yeah, he started putting out creepy vibes halfway through.
Yeah,
right?
like he was trying to get close to Denalia.
You're getting close to Mare.
Mare, fuck! I haven't read this book in so long, bro.
He initially was Mare's kind of horse friend, wasn't he? And I actually made a point in my notes. I forgot who Creance was.
Yeah.
Halfway through the book, and then remembered, like, at one point when he started being creepy, oh, horse friend!
Yeah. And also, it's a fucking, like, stupid name. It's a villain name. It's like
True, yeah,
Credence from the
But
East.
I thought he was from the magical land, so he had a bit of a weird name.
They all have weird names.
True. Towards the opening of the book, Casmiel, the uncle, is frustrated with Mare because she's, like, going out of the castle, getting information from, like, these underhanded sources, and he knows this because he has people spying on Mare, and it's set up in such a way that he needs Mare to get this information, and that's why he doesn't report her to the king for, like, sneaking out and stuff.
Yeah.
But if he has spies going around the town...
Why does he need Mare?
Why does he need Mare for?
It's like...
It's quite contrived that she's able to sneak out so much.
The author just needed a use for Mare other than the horse girl.
Brawls. In the first few chapters of the book, there are 3 street brawls.
Oh, fucking hell.
And they start for the most stupid reasons.
Uh-huh.
The first brawl that opens in the book is that one of the recusants is caught with white paint on his hands because they paint like these symbol of we've been here.
Yeah.
Someone from the street points out he's got white paint on his hands. He is. White paint on his hands. He's jumped and attacked by these guys, and then out of nowhere, the author writes a street brawl happened.
So everyone just gets
like, so who jumped in to save the recusant? Did they also have white paint on their hands?
That's their thing, they just paint white in the hands.
And they're just terrible at it all the time. It's getting on their fingers constantly.
Yeah.
There is an attempt made on the Ubermage's life.
Ubermage?
I don't know.
On Gandalf's life.
Someone tries to kill Gandalf in the woods when Denna and Mare are going on this like ride after she's learned to ride a horse.
Which I would have expected a princess to know in this type of like thing.
Denna.
Yeah, like
it's explained in the book that she lives in like a very mountainous area.
I mean, I read the book. I knew that.
So yeah, they go on this like riding trip in the woods, but it's a point that they're still inside the castle grounds, right?
Yeah.
And during that ride, they're accompanied by 2 guards. Someone shoots a bow at Denna, and it's revealed that it was the one from they met in the bar. She wasn't like a castle.
Yeah, she wasn't a guard.
She wasn't a servant or anything, no.
So how did she get inside the castle grounds?
How did she get inside the castle grounds?
Also, wasn't it a impromptu trip?
Yeah, they did not plan this trip beforehand.
So word wouldn't have got... Unless... I suppose that could have been...
Unless she'd been sitting in that bush for maybe a week, waiting, like, I know, goddamn, at some point.
That would have worked. That would have been, like, an interesting point if the author's trying to make it out like someone within the castle grounds was the traitor. But that's not the case, is it?
Denna, as a character, she goes through this kind of arc where she's got this struggle, right, to be taken seriously in the political world rather than just a figurehead.
Yeah.
I think she says someone that like runs poetry classes and tea parties.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that to be her job.
Yeah.
It's followed through quite well in the book. There's this like struggle through the entire story about her indecisiveness. She wants to do her duty, her responsibility, you know, to marry Thandilamon, run the country, but she also has this like follow her heart route, which is, you know, run away with Mare.
Yeah.
At the end, at the climax of the book, she kind of shakes off this indecisiveness and goes to rescue Mare, which is like a nice symbol of growth for Denna. What I would have liked to see for Denna though is have her develop relationships more with characters like Orna and Eleni.
Yeah, they were her...
One was her maid and one was like one of her courtiers.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see her develop relationships with those more because... And there really is no reason not to, because like I said, this is not a long book. There is more than enough space to fit in that kind of relationship.
Exactly.
So what do you think of Denalia as a character?
Boring. She's very one-dimensional, goody two-shoes.
She's the bookish stereotype.
She's the bookish stereotype, and Mare's the bad girl.
Yeah, she wears DMs.
I mean, me, as a woman who likes women, I can understand the appeal of the bad girl, but Mare's very much a not like other girls. Hates princess things. Protocol's so stupid.
Also, can we just have a moment of silence for Nils? Nils was too good for this world.
Honestly, I wish he was more of a character, because, like, he's just used as Mare's friend, as someone
seriously.
who can show Mare being, like, a kind person to, like...
Like, the only reason he exists is so Mare doesn't go on these trips alone.
Yeah.
He exists to compliment Mare and bounce quips off Mare. Imagine your
Mare
entire existence based around one woman. Shit, I've done that before.
Tea. But yeah, like, I really like Niles. Like, I don't know, I wish he didn't die. I would have liked him to see him in the second book.
Even his death only serves as a...
Oh shit, this isn't what I did.
It's Mare's consequences for her actions, finally.
Yeah.
That someone else died.
Yeah, it's really annoying. I just wish he was more of a character, because I only want him and Cass were the only ones I actually, like, enjoyed seeing.
As I went through this book and I was making notes, I was writing page number and then, like, a little note on what I thought.
Yeah.
At some point, a lot of my notes became page number,
Mare is annoying.
Mare is unlikable. Mare is annoying. What do you think of Mare as a character then?
I hate her. Like, I have here, she's annoying, childish, and not like other girls. Genuinely, she's like, I hate royal protocol. I hate treating people with respect. I hate wearing dresses and doing princessy things. I just want to ride my horses all day. I get it. You don't have a job. You don't have responsibilities.
She's you.
Fuck off.
She has these such Onision lines as well.
Ooh.
One of her lines is literally like, vigils provide nothing but bruised knees.
I just skipped over that.
Which I get is supposed to be a contrast to Denna, and she's all like, oh, I wish I could pray with my family right now because I'm so alone.
Yeah.
But you don't Onision. You never Onision that hard.
Once you pull Onision, you're out. She
is pointlessly edgy at times.
Yeah, because she wants to be cool, not like other girls. I'm just saying, if I knew Mare, I would hate her.
So something we haven't mentioned yet is the book is split up into chapters, as most books are.
As most books are.
And the chapters alternate between voices. So you'll have one chapter listening to Denna speak, one chapter listening to Mare speak.
That's common in YA.
Is it actually?
It's quite common because... I don't know. I guess when you have like a narrative point of view, you need different aspects to understand the story, I guess.
It does work in some places. Like, there is one point that I quite liked where they're going on this like little mission together to get into the captain's room. Mare takes away the guard, and it's not explained how Denna gets into the room. And there is a nice, quite like ad hoc reveal a few chapters later that what she did was like melt the lock with her fire powers.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite cute.
Yeah.
But broadly speaking, was not a fan of this tone switching. And it might just be because it sounds to me like the author is putting on two different voices. It doesn't sound like two different people to me.
I have a big point to say about writing. There's no like consistent feeling between the writing. I only found this because you pointed out on page 99 like there's a misspelling, so I went and read it. But also there's like that bit where she's like, I stared frozen in horror. Sure, I'd heard of magic, but like it's kind of like a thing like in horror, but then she goes talk colloquially about it. Like, yeah, I mean I've heard of magic, but like, you know what I mean? It's like if you're in shock, like I'm like, oh my god, that just happened. You wouldn't think, yeah, wow, I've heard of magic, but like I didn't see that. Do you know what I mean? I
think that's in a way Coulthurst not portraying her tone very well.
Yeah.
Because it could be, I mean, sure, I'd heard of magic, but
yeah, but it's I kind of read it as like, yeah, I mean, sure, I've heard of magic, but like kind of like she's like shocked, but you know.
What do you think of the dialogue in general?
It's kind of awkward and like clunky. You know what I mean?
One thing that stood out to me was after Denna faints by the horses, Mare comes down to rescue her, pick up her head and goes, use these muscles to let the air in. Like, bitch,
which
what?
Muscles? Breathe, bitch!
She lays down and she's like, diaphragm! Diaphragm!
Use your esophagus!
All of it!
Oh, not that one part, use it all, bitch!
I do like some of the dialogue though. There is a part where Denna is trying to flirt with Sandy, and he just totally misses the point. And that was like a really sweet, endearing moment. Mostly for how Denna reacts, right?
Yeah.
So I mentioned before that Coulthurst has a master's degree in writing.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this line, right? She describes the horse's breaths at one point being regular as a metronome.
First I think, what the fuck's a metronome?
A metronome is that thing you put on top of a piano that keeps time.
Oh, the beat thing.
Sure, a metronome is a thing that ticks regularly.
Yeah.
But it's a very awkward metaphor, right?
Yeah. Like...
Or not similar, actually. I think he uses as.
Oh, What did you get in GCSE English?
And then right after that, right, she describes Mare's shooting as the elegance of a maths equation.
It's just very... She sounds like she's trying to show off how good she can metaphor things.
But she clearly isn't, because...
I call it the Fault in Our Stars effect.
Oh, okay.
Sarcasm. John Green's a shit writer.
Oh!
No, I'm kidding.
Toasted.
I'm kidding. Well, am I? But... no, like it's like the cigarette metaphor in the book. It's trying too hard to sound dramatic, beautiful proses. You shouldn't have to try hard to make your writing sound beautiful.
Have you ever looked at a maths equation and thought, damn,
that's
elegance.
That's so beautiful. Like, no. All I did in maths was cry.
As you mentioned before, one thing I quite like about the book is gender and sexuality are never really discussed.
Which is refreshing.
Denna isn't not into Thandi because he's a guy. She's not into Thandi because she's just not into Thandi.
Yeah.
Whereas she is into men, not because she's a woman.
Because she was into Mare, which I don't know why, because she's annoying. But it's nice. It's a nice like break from like having fantasy where being gay is kind of like that.
It is the apex thing.
Yeah, it's not the big conflict of the plot, which is what I really like.
So should we close with some final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Go on, sum up your thoughts on this book in a few sentences.
Okay. So I think it was written for people who don't pay much attention to detail.
Right.
Or world building. I don't want to say it was written for a YA audience because that's kind of like the common misconception about YA books is that they're like not good and they're not like well written, because there's plenty of well written books, but this just, I think it would have been such a better book if the characters weren't so one dimensional, if the world and the magic system was better fleshed out, and it was a longer book, so the plot had more time to like develop itself and be like prevalent. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, let your 12-year-old read this lesbian book.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Joe Rogan Experience.
Okay, then I'll laugh and then listen, I'm the funny one in the pair. That's my job in the group.